Hello, and welcome to another deep dive into the peculiar corners of our world. Today, we're strapping in for a wild ride through the legal landscape of North Korea. Tucked behind the iron curtain of censorship and state control lies a treasure trove of laws so bizarre, you'd think they were ripped from a dystopian novel. Buckle up, dear viewers, because we're about to delve headfirst into North Korea's most absurd laws. Let's kick things off with a rule so fundamental to modern life: making phone calls. In most parts of the world, picking up the phone and dialing a number is a mundane task, something we do without a second thought. But in North Korea, this simple act can have dire consequences. In North Korea, even picking up the phone and dialing can land you in serious trouble. The government has strict control over all forms of communication, and making unauthorized international calls is considered a severe offense. It's not just frowned upon, it's a crime against the state. Making unauthorized international calls is a crime against the state, a one-way ticket to a world of hurt. The consequences are harsh and unforgiving. Those caught making such calls can face imprisonment, torture, and even execution. The regime views these calls as a threat to its control, a potential leak of information that could undermine its authority. The government controls who its citizens can and cannot talk to, keeping a tight lid on information flowing in and out. This control extends to monitoring phone lines and intercepting calls. The state employs a vast network of informants and surveillance technology to ensure that no unauthorized communication takes place. Imagine not being able to call a friend overseas or reach out to a family member who escaped. For many North Koreans, this is a harsh reality. The inability to communicate freely with the outside world creates a sense of isolation and fear. Families are torn apart, and the emotional toll is immense. It's a chilling thought, and just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to North Korea's bizarre laws. The regime's control over communication is just one aspect of its broader strategy to maintain power. From restricting access to information to enforcing strict social norms, the government goes to great lengths to keep its citizens in line. The fear of punishment is ever present, and the consequences of stepping out of line are severe. So, the next time you pick up your phone to make a call, remember that in some parts of the world, this simple act is fraught with danger. So, making international calls is a no-go in North Korea. But what about the internet? North Korea has internet access, but it's not the kind that would make Mark Zuckerberg weep with joy. Instead of the chaotic wonderland we know, North Koreans get Kwangmyong, a tightly controlled intranet. Every website and piece of information is meticulously vetted and approved by the government. It's a digital echo chamber where dissent is silenced and information is tightly controlled. Let's say you've resisted making an illegal phone call, which in itself is a risky endeavor in North Korea. The government monitors all communications, and even a simple phone call can land you in serious trouble. Or perhaps you've avoided delving into the heavily censored intranet, where access to the outside world is severely restricted. The internet as we know it is a distant dream for most North Koreans. You decide to treat yourself to a staycation and hit the open road, thinking it might be a good way to escape the daily grind. You pack your bags, load up the car, and set your sights on a little adventure within your own country. But in North Korea, even moving around your own country requires jumping through bureaucratic hoops. Roadblocks with armed guards are a common sight, and every journey needs to be meticulously planned and approved. Freedom of movement is not a high priority in the DPRK. Many areas are off-limits, and the government keeps a tight grip on where its citizens can and cannot go. Citizens need permission to travel within North Korea, requiring a travel permit that can take weeks to obtain. The process is cumbersome and often discourages people from even attempting to travel. And leaving the country? That's reserved for the most well-connected or desperate. International travel is a luxury that few can afford, both financially and politically. So much for spontaneous adventures. The idea of just picking up and going somewhere on a whim is almost unheard of in North Korea. In North Korea, even the open road leads straight back to the watchful eye of the state. Surveillance cameras and military checkpoints are everywhere, ensuring that no one strays too far from the government's control. The dream of a carefree road trip remains just that, a dream. Let's talk media. In many parts of the world, media serves as a bridge to information, a way to stay connected with global events, and a platform for diverse voices. But not everywhere. In North Korea, foreign media is about as welcome as a plague of locusts. The regime views it as an invasive threat, something that could disrupt the carefully controlled narrative they have built. It's seen as a dangerous force capable of corrupting minds and undermining government authority. The government fears that exposure to outside ideas could lead to dissent and rebellion. Newspapers, books, movies, music. If it comes from the outside world, it's likely forbidden. The state goes to great lengths to ensure that only approved content reaches its citizens. Anything that deviates from the official party line is strictly controlled. Libraries are monitored, and even the internet is heavily censored, with only a select few having access to the global web. The penalties for getting caught with contraband media, imprisonment, forced labor, and worse. The regime uses fear to maintain its grip on power, ensuring that the populace remains obedient and uninformed. In North Korea, controlling information is key to maintaining control over the population. Loudspeakers blare state-approved news, and propaganda billboards remind citizens of the official narrative. Despite the risks, some brave souls still seek out forbidden media, hoping for a glimpse of the world beyond their borders. Let's move on to religion. In many parts of the world, freedom of religion is a fundamental right, but in North Korea, organized religion is seen as a threat to the regime. The Kim dynasty craves absolute devotion and sees any higher power as a direct threat. Religious practices are heavily restricted, if not outright banned. Churches, temples, mosques, they're either closed, repurposed, or non-existent. The consequences for practicing your faith? Imprisonment, torture, and even execution. Let's talk about the American dream. In North Korea, that dream is unattainable. Private businesses are rare, as the government controls the economy. If you're a budding entrepreneur, North Korea is not the place for you. Only state-owned and state-controlled businesses are allowed. The vast majority of North Koreans live in poverty, struggling to make ends meet. In North Korea, loyalty to the regime is prioritized over individual prosperity. Let's talk about the right to criticize the government. In North Korea, that sentiment is unwelcome. Criticizing the government is met with severe consequences. The Kim dynasty has a sensitivity issue when it comes to criticism. Any form of dissent, whether verbal or artistic, can land you in serious trouble. We're talking imprisonment, torture, and even execution. Freedom of speech isn't a priority in the DPRK. Fashionistas, this one's for you. In North Korea, fashion is tightly controlled. Western-style clothing is seen as a corrupting force. Blue jeans, leather jackets, and t-shirts with English slogans are forbidden. Wearing Western-style clothing is seen as a sign of disrespect. The consequences? Public humiliation, fines, and even imprisonment. North Korea isn't exactly a fashion capital of the world. Let's talk about public gatherings. In North Korea, the concept is unwelcome. The government likes to keep a tight lid on things. Any gathering not sanctioned by the state is seen as a potential threat. Protests, rallies, concerts, even group hangouts. If it's not approved, it's not allowed. The consequences for unauthorized gatherings? Imprisonment, forced labor, and worse. In North Korea, public gatherings are tightly controlled. Our final destination, freedom of speech. In North Korea, it's non-existent. The government controls the narrative, information, and what people say. Any form of expression that deviates from the party line is met with repression. We're talking imprisonment, torture, forced labor, and even execution. Even private conversations can land you in hot water. In North Korea, silence is golden, and speaking your mind can cost you everything. So, there you have it. A glimpse into North Korea's bizarre legal landscape. It's a stark reminder that the freedoms we take for granted are precious and worth fighting for. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe and like. Thanks for watching.